this will be recorded, so if you want, you can pass this to anyone you think that it could benefit. So we will have a recording of this. All right, again, thank everybody for joining this webinar. You could be doing so many other things with your time right now, and so I really appreciate it. I don't believe your time is valueless. I think that, you know, for you to give me your time and to give Nicole your time, I don't take that lightly. But I believe that there should be a consideration of our health, right? And that our health should always be at the forefront of what we do. When I was a personal trainer, I used to ask potential clients of mine, people that would come to me for training. And I'm going to ask you the same question, all right? And I would ask them, what are your top 3 priorities? What are the 3 most important things in your life? And I want you to think about that. I want you to think about your top 3 priorities and the 3 most important things in your life. If you can write them down, write them down. If you're sitting next to someone, tell them what they are. And I admit this is a very narrow question, but I ask it for a reason. It's narrow because there's a lot of things, right, that's important in our lives. But I wanted to see if they would put themselves among those top 3 things. I wanted to see if they considered themselves a priority. And most of the time, guess what? Almost always, they didn't consider themselves a top priority. They didn't put themselves on that list. And so the task that I took as a personal trainer during that very first introductory meeting was trying to convince them. Now, here am I trying to convince them that they needed to be on that list among those top 3 things. And here's what I would say. If your health fails, what happens to all those things that are on your list? What happens to those 3 things? Those 3 things either become greatly strained or they collapse altogether, right? So your health is very important. Thank you for taking that into consideration and being on this webinar. And I'm going to assume that because you're on this webinar, that you're putting yourself on that list, that you understand that your health is a top priority and that all priorities have to come second to that. And I'm going to also assume that you're going to make a commitment, all right? And your commitment is not going to be to me. It's not going to be to Nicole. And maybe it'll be to Nicole later. But you're making a commitment to yourself, okay, that your health is going to be a priority. So I'm a motivational speaker. I had to start with some motivation. So I wanted to motivate you. We're motivated, all right? So now let me tell you how we're going to proceed. Nicole is my health coach, and she's my wife, Tia's health coach. And I called Nicole when I got into some trouble. And here's the kind of trouble I got into. I'm getting older. And so my metabolism is slowing down, right? And the things that I used to do stopped working. I work out religiously. I run constantly. But for some reason, the scale started going up. And I couldn't figure it out because I eat relatively healthy, you know. Notice the relatively healthy, all right? So I reached out to Nicole. And we made some minor adjustments based on Nicole's recommendation that we really benefited from. I lost 6 pounds. My wife, Tia, lost 11 pounds. And this has been like over a month and a half, 2 months, you know? And so I wanted to bring this to you. I wanted to give this information to you. Nicole wanted to give this information to you. So Nicole and I are going to have a discussion today. We're going to have a conversation. And we're going to talk about how you can set up your kitchen for weight loss and be more health conscious. And throughout our conversation, you're going to have questions. And I'm going to encourage you to hold your questions until the end. She's going to address your questions at the end. You can put your questions in the chat box, or you can follow the instructions at the end that you'll be given when we go into Q&A mode. Excuse me. So when we go into Q&A mode, there'll be an automated prompt that's going to tell you how to ask your question. And the next thing I'll mention is that Nicole has a special offer for everyone on this call. All right, so she's going to give everyone present tonight a free, all right, DeAngelo spell free, Free, a free 30-minute consultation talk, all right, about whatever you like. Well, not about whatever you like. Stick to health, nutrition, food, exercise, weight loss, those things. You know what I mean? Nicole's link to her contact form is going to be in the chat box. I'm going to put that in the chat box. And so you'll be able to reach out to her directly via that link. And what you're going to do is click on that link, fill out that form, and Nicole will get in touch with you. And I'll say all of this again towards the end. All right? Listen, all right, let me tell you about Nicole. Nicole has worked in the fitness industry since 2007 as a personal trainer and health coach, helping her clients achieve their health and weight loss goals. In addition to the everyday person, Nicole has trained and coached people of all fitness levels, including athletes, military recruits, and those with injuries and mobility restrictions. Nicole has been married for 23 years to her husband, Donnie. She's a mom of 3 girls, 3 lovely girls. Her passion for health and fitness is literally infectious. I'm telling you, I don't know anybody that's energized for health and fitness like Nicole. And as a former teacher, Nicole has a gift for educating and motivating and encouraging her clients to succeed. You know, what's good about where I sit is that I got a chance to witness a lot of this. I was there very early on in Nicole's process because Nicole used to be my client. And Nicole had aspirations to become a trainer. And just like everybody, right, when we start a new journey, something that's unknown to us, we are a little unsure about that. And so Nicole was unsure about it. You know, she was a little insecure about, you know, can I really do this? Do you think I can do it? I remember this. Do you think I can really do it? You sure? You sure? And I had so much faith and confidence in Nicole that she could become a trainer. And I said, yes, of course you can do it. I'm going to help you. I'm going to mentor you. We're going to pass your exam. And Nicole went on and did all those things. She began working at a facility that I was working at, and we trained together. Now, check this out. I was known for my creativity. I was like the dude when it came to training. People knew that I was hard. I was tough. I was doing HIIT training before HIIT training even came out. Like, I came up under just being really functional and plyometrics, and I knew where my clients' thresholds were, right? Because I learned. I had people pass out, so I learned over time. And oftentimes, I pushed my clients further and past where they thought they could go without hurting them. Nicole, on the other hand, when she became a trainer, Nicole didn't have any breaks. I'm telling you. She started getting a reputation that everybody said, Nicole is harder than you. Nicole is tougher than you. And what we discovered was that, yeah, because she didn't have any breaks. So if you wanted to die, if you wanted to have an early death, sign up with Nicole. I remember one time Nicole had a guy doing bear crawls backwards up a hill. I'm telling you. And so I had to have a conversation with her, and I said, Nicole, listen, you got to learn where the breaks are. You got to pay attention to people. You got to look at their eyes. You got to watch their body language. You got to watch how they're breathing and their skin color. Make sure they're not changing colors. And she finally got it. And Nicole went on to be the best trainer I know. So, Nicole, thank you, and welcome to this webinar.
Oh, thank you so much. What an introduction. Oh, my goodness. I do remember that, yes. And yeah. I've come a long way, and I'm so glad that I was trained by the very best, because you are the very best. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I do have such a passion for health and fitness. I think my passion is even greater for just helping change people's lives, give them confidence. And health is, like DeAngelo said, I mean, it is really the most important thing in our lives, right? Without our health, what do we have? We have nothing. So I am on a mission to help people improve their health, lose weight, feel good about themselves, have energy again. It's hard raising a family, and as you get older, the responsibilities change, and we do, sometimes feel more tired or gain more weight. So I'm really excited to every day wake up and be able to help my clients on this journey. So, I'd love to get started, and thank you so much for being here and sharing this time with me.
All right, Nicole, so check this out. We've all heard that if we clean up our diet, if we eat healthy and exercise, we'll lose weight. But is mere weight loss the measuring stick for good health, right? So in other words, what does eating healthy mean?
So good question. So it's subjective. Of course, like there's so many schools of thought on this. There are people that think that healthy eating is keto or paleo or other diets. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I will tell you that what I think healthy is eating minimally processed foods. So reducing your prepackaged foods or ultimately cutting them out and reducing sugar and eating whole food, real food, food that grows, food that's in the sea, like real food. So that's really what I call healthy.
Gotcha. So we're creatures of habit, Nicole. We've been doing certain behaviors for an extended amount of time. Where do we start? How do we start this process of becoming healthier?
So you might be very surprised by my answer, but I actually start with my clients with reading labels, food labels. And the reason for this is when you go to the grocery store, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, you may see a box or a package of something that says things like all natural or low sodium or whole grain, and you think, oh, that's healthy, and you put it in your cart. But most of the time, these food companies put that on there for marketing. It's not always true. So I always teach my clients, you need to be your own advocate. Turn that box over or that bag over and read the ingredients. And I teach them all about ingredients, what's good for you, what's bad for you, what to look for, what to cut out. And a lot of these ingredients, as we'll get to in the next couple questions here, will actually make you gain weight. So by doing this, it's like the first thing. And so the first thing I do is teach them that it's best to do 5 ingredients or less on a label. So if you turn over a box and you see 100 ingredients, which you're going to see on many packaged foods, it's best to put that back. And then know how to pronounce all the ingredients on there. That's very important. I mean, you don't want to eat something that's de joie joie, right? What's that? So make sure that you can pronounce, what you're eating. And also remember that the first 3 ingredients are very important because that's what is mostly in that food. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that many times it's hard for people to give up these foods, but a lot of my clients have been able to push away these foods because they start to learn what's in them and what it's doing to their body. So that's kind of helpful to know that. And one more thing I wanted to share was, and this is pretty shocking, is that roughly 10,000 food additives are in our food supply. And the average person eats 2 to 3 pounds a day, even kids. I mean, that's pretty sick if you think about it. Most of these chemicals are only tested on animals. They're not even tested on humans. So the testing comes when you eat it. And then the studies are done because people are developing diseases or there's obesity on the rise or they're getting sick. So then the studies come out and they realize, oh, yeah, that causes this and that causes that. So, it's pretty scary. So you really need to know what is in the food you're eating. And I wanted to tell you just a brief story. I had a client once, not too long ago, and he ate processed food. It's like all he ate, and he drank energy drinks because in the middle of the day, he would have no energy. So he would drink tons of energy drinks. So I worked with him, and he eventually was able to switch from those energy drinks, believe it or not, to flavored water. And he also stopped eating all the processed food. Now, this was over a course of, a couple of months, but he started eating real food. And I cannot believe the difference that he made. I mean, his energy levels were through the roof. He felt so much better. He was shocked. So he went on to be one of my best clients. I was just so impressed with that.
That's awesome, Nicole. Can you help us understand some of the chemicals or ingredients we should stay away from in packaged food that, and all of this contributes to poor health and weight gain, as you said?
Yes, absolutely. So there's so many. Like I said, there's like 10,000 food additives. But I'm going to mention a few of the common ones that you will probably see. So one of them that I'd like to tell you about is enriched flour. So you're going to see this on breads and cakes and cookies and, all kinds of food. And enriched flour is actually stripped of all of its nutrients. So there's 0 nutrients in it. And it does cause weight gain. It makes your blood sugar spike. And it's treated with up to 60 chemicals before it's taken to the grocery store. So they don't tell you that. But even bleach is one of the chemicals that they treat this with. And that is what you eat. So yeah, that's not great. Then high fructose corn syrup is another one. Many of you may have heard of that. This is a heavily processed sweetener. It's very unhealthy. It comes from cornstarch, and this is linked to type 2 diabetes, cancer, dementia, heart disease, obesity. I mean, and the list goes on. So high fructose corn syrup, no. Then there's 2 other ones that I wanted to mention that are preservatives. One of them is called sodium nitrate. Sodium nitrate is a preservative that's linked to cancer as well, and it's in deli meat, hot dogs, bacon. I know you don't want to hear this, but I got to tell you, it's in jerky, sausage. Now, here's the good news. You can actually find these meats that don't have it in there, but you got to look for it. And why would you look for it if you didn't know about it? So that is what this is all about, right? I want you to know about these things so that you can make better choices. The next preservative is called sodium phosphate. This is in almost all processed foods. And there's a risk of chronic kidney disease, heart disease, and accelerated aging. Who wants that? So, we really want to stay away from processed foods as much as possible. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that because it's really hard to go from eating that all the time to just cutting it completely out. So I'm going to give you some tips. But the last one I want to tell you about is called caramel coloring, or it's called caramel color. You might see it as that. This one is a thickener that keeps ingredients from separating. And it's linked to cancer, again. It enhances the color and the appearance of the food. That's all it does. But here's the sick thing. They put it in foods that are already brown. So it's in coffee drinks. Don't ask me why, but they do this. So it's in coffee drinks. It's in cereal, pancake syrup. It's in soda. It leads to weight gain as well. So those are just a few. There's many.
Gotcha. So I came across this study, some interesting research some time ago, that suggests that more than a third of the U.S. population is obese, including, you mentioned children, including nearly 1 in 5 children, right? Yep. Now, there's a lot of things that contribute to this, but one thing is that our plate sizes have gotten larger over the last 50 years. And the data shows that people tend to eat what's on their plates, right? So if we want to control our eating, then one way that we can do that is to use smaller plates, right? Since we tend to eat what's in front of us. So this kind of coincides with the next question, Nicole. If someone currently has food, right, with these ingredients, such, enriched flour, like you talked about, high fructose corn syrup, sodium nitrate, sodium phosphate, caramel color. If these foods are in their pantry right now or in their fridge right now, do you recommend that they just throw them all away?
Absolutely not. I know that sounds crazy, right, from a health coach, but I'm going to tell you why, because I have been doing this a long, long time, and I don't believe in dieting. Does dieting work? No. I mean, we might lose weight for a short amount of time, but we will usually gain it back, right? And so my program, I don't do any dieting. This is about lifestyle change. So this is what I do. I tell my clients, and it works, I tell my clients, go into your pantry. I'm telling you, go into your pantry, go into your fridge. Start reading labels. Start doing research on this, figuring out what different things are. If you see something that you don't know, you're not sure, you're not familiar with what it is, look it up. Find out if it's healthy or not. And then get rid of the things that don't really matter to you. I mean, we all have things that we don't really care about that are in our fridge that maybe we bought when we were hungry or we bought for another family member. Get rid of those things. If the things you love, hold on to them right now. But the other things, get rid of them. So in my experience as a weight loss coach and a personal trainer, I'm convinced that extreme changes without proper preparation only leads to frustration and many times failure instead of progress. So it's little steps. It's not going from 0 to 100. It's little steps that work. So that's what I recommend.
Yeah, I like that, little steps. You're right, because sometimes we set the bar too high and we talk about SMART goals, setting goals that are specific, measurable, and all that good stuff. And so I agree with you, the smaller steps really can go a long way. So besides setting up our fridge and pantry with healthier foods, you have any other quick tips for preparing our kitchen for weight loss?
I do. But I also wanted to say, when you go grocery shopping, it's very helpful to ask yourself 2 questions every time you go. The first question is, what are the ingredients? Just get in the habit of always asking yourself that when you go to pick something up and put it in your cart. What are the ingredients? And then the second thing, ask, is this nutritious? Now, sometimes you're going to say no and you're going to buy it anyway, and that's okay. But the majority of your cart you should be able to say yes to those items. And maybe not right at first, but every time you shop, try to add more whole foods, more real foods into your grocery cart. And then the other tips I have, one of the things that I do in my family is I leave a bowl of fruit out on the counter. And then when my kid's hungry, when I'm hungry, it's right there. And I just grab it and eat it. It's convenient. And usually what you see first is what you eat. So that's very helpful. The next thing is to keep fruit and vegetables cut up in your fridge at eye level. This is very helpful. Who wants to cut up a bunch of fruit and vegetables when you're hungry? You want to grab something, right? So then in the pantry, same thing. You want things at eye level that are healthier to grab. And also you want to keep a water bottle in your kitchen so that every time, and we all do this in my family, every time we walk into the kitchen, we're reminded to fill up our water and drink water. I mean, almost all of my clients have a hard time drinking water. I shouldn't say all, but many of them have a hard time remembering to drink water. So either keep that water bottle with you or have it in the kitchen out on the counter so that you will always grab some water. And then the last tip I want to give you is if you have a treat in the house, like I have an 8-year-old daughter. She loves her treats, and she gets them in moderation. But I make sure that those treats are either put up high, and even for my husband and I, if we get a treat, it goes up high, it goes behind something, or it goes in another cabinet. It doesn't mean that we don't know it's there, but I'm not looking at it as soon as I open up the pantry. It's not the first thing I grab. So those are some of the tips I have, and my favorite tip of all that I have to share, and I saved it for last, is to meal prep. So I am a big fan of this. I do this in my house. I make freezer meals, which are, I don't cook them ahead of time normally. What I do is I take a Ziploc bag and I throw in raw ingredients with spices. I have recipes for these. And I put a label on them and I freeze them for up to 3 months. So when it's time to eat dinner, all I have to do after a busy day is grab it, put it in an Instant Pot, or that morning put it in the crock pot, or maybe it goes in the oven, and then 30 minutes my dinner's ready. It took me 5 minutes. I mean, it's so easy. So that's very important because then you're preparing it ahead of time, not when you're in a hurry and you just need something, and then you end up going out for fast food or ordering junk food, right? Another thing is batch cooking. If you're going to make one meal, make 2 or 3 of those meals and then freeze the others. And buy yourself cut up veggies or frozen vegetables so that you can have quick sides. Make it quick and easy but healthy. Make it easy for yourself. So I wanted to show you some of the stuff I have. Would you like to see?
Come on, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to show you a little bit. let's see. I was going to grab the asparagus, but that's not what I'm showing you. Okay. So let me grab a couple things here. And this is real. Like, this isn't for show. Like, I really do this, okay? I really do this. Okay. So these are overnight oats. I'm sure many of you have heard of them. I put this together in less than 5 minutes last night. I did 2 of them. I had one this morning, and this one's in there for tomorrow. So you get the recipes online, on Pinterest. They have tons of them. Overnight oats. Super quick, very healthy. Then I also make salad jars all the time. So I just make a big batch of salad. I put them in different jars. When it's time for lunch, I'm busy, like many of you. I open it up. I put it in a bowl. There you go. I've got my healthy meal already ready. I don't have to scramble around looking for food. These are very interesting. These are delicious. So these are my chocolate chip muffins. No sugar. None. These are made with bananas and dates. Yes. And that might sound disgusting, but my 8-year-old loves them and eats them for dessert. But she could also have these for breakfast because they're very healthy, filled with fiber. And then I make big batches of grains, rice or quinoa, whatever grain you want, and I freeze them in little bags like this and put the date on them. So that when it comes time for dinner, this is brown rice, I could just, soak it in water, right, to defrost it, and then voila, warm it up and you've got your side. And here are my freezer meals. So I have 3 right now that are in here. Salsa chicken, honey, garlic chicken. I actually made one tonight. It was a mustard beef in the crock pot. It took me 2 minutes to put it in there, and it's cooked all day and it's ready. So, healthy chicken piccata. There's ways to do this, and these are kind of things I teach my clients to make things efficient and easy and healthy. And they lose weight, they feel better, they have more energy, and I hope that you all will start doing some of these things.
Nicole, you've turned my wife into a beast. Sometimes I just want a cookie, bro. I just want a real cookie, bro. She bought these coconut cashew cookies, and I just want to throw them at my kids. I want a cookie, bro, a real one, But it's working. It's working. I feel better than I've felt in a very long time, and I'm starting to look like I used to look, and so I want to thank you. I appreciate that. I do have one last question, Nicole. We are in the season now of fitness. Everybody's signing up for gym memberships and things at the first of the year. But like I know, this is when they come to see us. And a lot of times, if they didn't have that one-on-one accountability, people fall off. So how can people start working out? But not just start working out. How can they start working out in a way that they will stick with it, Nicole?
Great question. Yes. And that's so important because we can all start, right? But it's sticking with it that's important. So what I suggest is, and I tell this to all my clients, I want you to start with something that you will do and something you like. So maybe it's walking. Maybe you just want to put on your headphones and you want to go listen to a podcast or music and go for a walk. Start there. Or maybe you like to dance. Put on some music in your kitchen. Dance. Right? That's exercise. Who says you have to go to the gym and run on the treadmill and lift weights to exercise, right? Just start moving, okay? Or riding a bike. Maybe you like to ride a bike. Whatever you like to do, start with that. You just need to start somewhere, right? And then I help my clients make, like you were talking about, SMART goals, and this is what I do, is I help them make goals every single week, very detailed goals. But very small goals, not a whole list, just a few that they work on that week. And that's how we see the small changes that become big transformations. My program is actually called Transformation. And so I help them by every single day with our fitness goals. They break them down and they tell me exactly what they're going to do. Even our rest day, they put that in there. And they print this sheet out and they put it on their fridge or by their computer or by their bed or wherever they see it. And the night before, they get out their clothes, they get prepared, they know what they're going to do. And a very important thing is to make sure that you have a time on there because it's so easy to let the day go by and, it's dinner time, I'm tired, and I just ate, I can't work out now. So have it scheduled like a doctor's appointment, like a conference call. You're important, and your health is important. So it needs to be scheduled, and you need to commit to taking care of you, and that's one way to do it. And then the last tip I have for that is to increase your time and your miles, your steps, and your intensity every week. Even if it's little by little by little, it doesn't matter. Just increase it. If you were walking 10 minutes, either increase your intensity by walking fast for a minute and slowing down, or increase your time. You're going to do 15 minutes. So there's so many ways to go about it. And you'll be surprised how much progress you'll make and how much better you'll feel by just doing those small little things. It doesn't take CrossFit. It doesn't take, HIIT, right? I mean, that's another level. That's at another phase of the plan, right? Because you do get to that place. But in the beginning, don't worry about that. Just start somewhere.
Somebody put it in the chat, Nicole. She's about that life. She does this for real. Yeah, she's about that life, man. Yeah, she does it. She does it for real. All right, so we're gonna go and take some of y'all's questions. Listen, you have the best trainer in front of you right now. Do not get off this phone, get off this call, this meeting, without asking her a question. I promise you want to ask her a question. So let's go into question mode.
I do also teach Zoom classes online on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock in the morning. They're 30 minutes. They're definitely not major beginner, but they're also not advanced. I give modifications for things. So anyway, if you're interested, you can fill out that form and put in the comments that you'd like to hear more about it, and I can give you more information. I just wanted to mention that.
All right, so we got a couple questions, Nicole.
Great.
From Deb. Smoothies, are they high in calories?
Okay, well, smoothies can be high in calories, yes. But the smoothies that I make are not high in calorie. I always put green, like kale or spinach, in a smoothie. And you can do protein powder. I prefer to leave protein powder out most of the time just because it's not a natural ingredient, and get my protein from other sources. Like you'd be surprised how much protein is in these different vegetables and fruits that are in the smoothie. So using like a almond milk or a coconut milk, some milk alternative, or even low-fat milk, like a 2% milk is fine, and you can always reduce the calories with a smoothie, or you can make them high.
Okay. And another question, how do I stay motivated to lose weight on the weekends?
Oh, good question. Well, again, I mean, you can schedule it in. So this is what really needs to be done. If you know where you're falling, if you know that the weekends is the time that you fall, you're great Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, and you're motivated, but the weekends come and, oh my gosh, I don't have motivation, then you know what you need to do, right? You need to schedule it in, because once you start doing it and you create a pattern, you're going to start to feel good, and then it's going to be part of your life. So you've got to schedule it in. Very important. I hope that helps.
All right. Is coffee bad every day? Not decaf, regular coffee.
Absolutely not. Lots of antioxidants in coffee. It's not bad at all. But you do have to be careful what you put in your coffee. Those creamers, read those ingredients, because most of them have hydrogenated oils in them and other bad stuff. So a lot of them have caramel coloring. So read the ingredients. I just use a coconut milk right now, and I use coconut sugar, which is low glycemic, so it doesn't spike my blood sugar. That's what I put in my coffee with collagen. I don't know if you've heard of collagen, but I mean, I could go on and on all night telling you all about these things. But I teach this to my clients. They learn all about these things. But no, coffee is good for you. I wouldn't have 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee. I mean, keep it to a couple cups, but it's good.
Yeah. Okay. What's your take on intermittent fasting?
Okay, I have different thoughts on that. I think it depends on the person. I think it's great. I think it's very healthy for regenerating your cells. But I think that some people have a very difficult time with obsessing over food and their next meal, and that can get into that can just create a bigger problem. So, because it makes them think about food a lot. And I've actually had that experience with some clients. So it really depends on the client. I do think it is healthy if it's done right. But again, it just depends on the client, on the person.
All right, somebody said, help, what if my wife loves pork chops?
Okay, I'm not telling you not to eat pork chops. Okay, pork chops are fine. What are your sides? And what are you cooking the pork chops in? And then what are you having the other night, right? Because this is the other thing. It's 80-20. I believe that, if we're clean with our diets 80% of the time, it's okay to indulge a little bit. I mean, that's that 20%. We can't live, it's not sustainable to live, for some people it is, but not for most people, to live very, very strictly, right? And so I eat 80-20. I eat very healthy 80% of the time. And then the other 20, I'll have a glass of wine or two. I'll have, whatever it is, a cookie once in a while. So, yeah, it's okay to have that. But what are your sides? Are you having a green food? Are you having a salad? Are you having your vegetables? Healthy grains?
Yeah. Gotcha. That's good feedback, Nicole. What time of the day should you cut out carbs? I usually eat bread in the morning.
Good. Yeah. So your body doesn't need carbs at night. Really, carbs give you energy, and at night, what do? We usually sit around and watch TV or read a book, right, or relax. So there's really no need for energy at night. So when you take those carbs in at night and you go to bed, it's going to be stored as fat, right? Because you're not using it. So there's really no need for carbs at night. Maybe a whole grain if you wanted like a little bit of brown rice or something. But yeah, I agree. I think having it in the morning and the afternoon is fine. But I would like cut back towards the evening.
All right. Is there an app that counts calories?
Yes, many. But you know what? On my program, you don't have to count calories. We don't even go there. And I know you're like, what? But oh yeah, and it works. I'm telling you. So MyFitnessPal, I recommend. In fact, my clients use it, and I watch what they eat. I go over their logs every day, and we talk about it once a week and tweak their diets. So MyFitnessPal, aces.
All right, Nicole, how do you feel about juicing? 80% veggies and 20% fruit.
Excellent. I think it's great. I do it myself.
All right. What if you have the diet of a 12-year-old? No fish, no veggies. I'm not sure what that means. I guess what 12-year-olds eat what?
So
yeah.
I'm going to interpret that as, what if my diet is not real healthy? Like, how do I change it, maybe? So again, I'm going to go back to what I said before. It's little steps, right? It's little steps. So you need guidance. You need to know what's in food. You need to know what to eat. You need to know what not to eat, and then how to get away from what not to eat slowly. Because like I said, if you do all or nothing, it's usually a fail. I've done this for a long time, and I'm telling you, people that jump in and that are not prepared and not ready, they fall off. So it's little steps, little changes. Just start somewhere with buying whole food and starting to eat better.
Would you advise a vegetarian diet, or is that overboard?
It depends. Again, it depends on the client. I'm very personal with my clients, and if somebody really wanted to eat vegetarian, and I would have to ask them, what their reasons are and what they're eating, because you have to be careful. You have to make sure you're getting enough nutrients. I know when we say vegetarian, some people think, well, what do you mean? They're like the healthiest people, but no, actually, many vegetarians are not healthy because they're not getting enough protein in their diet. And they're not getting enough nutrients. A lot of them eat tons of carbs that are unhealthy. Now, there are healthy carbs. But, so it depends. I'd have to talk to you personally and see what it is that why you want to do it and what you're looking for and your history and and I'd let you know, you know. So go ahead and message me, and I'll call you. We can talk about it.
All right. Any tips for those with lupus and chronic pain? I want to exercise, but I may wake up and can't get out of bed. So any tips for any individual struggling with any, with chronic pain or something like that?
So, yeah, I'm not a doctor, and I can't, really go to that level with you because, I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified to really give you great answers on that. But what I will say is that, I mentioned a lot of these additives that are in the foods, and many of them do cause lots of different ailments, diseases, inflammation in the body. Once those are taken out of the diet and real whole foods that grow in the ground, like real food, organic food that doesn't have pesticides on it, is taken into your body consistently, it's healing. I'm not telling you your lupus will go away, your diseases will go away. I'm not saying that. But I will say that I have dealt with many people that have had different types of issues, a lot of digestive issues, but many issues. And they've gotten so much better because they have changed their diet. Diet really is the key to, like, everything. It's medicine.
What are some healthy carbs?
Oh, fruits and vegetables. And whole grains, as long, I tell my clients, eat them in moderation. So you're not going to pig out on a big bowl of, brown rice, but have some. I mean, there's nutrients in that. Don't keep yourself from having, grains. As long as they're healthy grains, go for it. Have some.
What is more important, diet or exercise for weight loss? So what are the more important things that you can do, I guess, in terms of your food and maybe even exercise to lose weight, Nicole?
Oh, I interpreted that question a little differently than you did, but
okay. Maybe you're probably right. You're probably right. So go with yours.
Well, I don't know.
Go with yours.
Was it what's more important, food or exercise? That's what I heard you
Okay,
say.
actually, you're right. What's more important, diet or exercise? Yep.
Okay. Well, they're both important. Okay, and I know that you don't want to hear that, but they are. They're both important for different reasons. Can you lose weight without exercising? Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. I've seen people do it over and over again. Will you feel as good? Will you look as good? No, you will not. Exercise is so important for so many reasons. It reduces stress. I mean, the list is so long on what exercise does. It helps you sleep better. It helps your mood. It really helps your mood, because I have a problem with depression and have, like, my whole life. And I exercise 5 to 6 times a week, and I don't have that problem. But if I go periods of time without exercising, I feel it again. So yeah. I'm telling you, I mean, there's so much science out there too, about how helpful it is. So anyway, both, but yes, you can lose weight by just eating healthy.
Okay, Nicole, you mentioned healthy grains such as brown rice. What are some others?
Millet, quinoa is a great one. Black rice, I think that's called, like, the forbidden rice.
I wonder why.
I may have piqued your curiosity there. Yeah. So actually, we eat a lot of quinoa in our house. I love it. And actually, your wife did not like it when she first tried it because she didn't have my recipe. And then I gave her my recipe, and she said she loved it. So no. Yeah,
I think I've been digging a little quinoa. Yeah. I think I've been on a little quinoa too. Yeah.
I mean, knowing how to prepare these foods is so important. Otherwise, they taste disgusting, right? So you have to. When I grew up, they were soaked in butter and cheese and like overboiled and soggy, and they were nasty. I hated vegetables. And then when I started getting healthy about 20 years ago, I started learning how to cook vegetables, roast them in the oven, which is delicious. And I learned about spices and different seasonings and oils. And now my food is fantastic. I mean, even my 8-year-old loves my food. And kids, right? So you can learn how to eat healthy and make the food taste good.
Okay. Nicole, does it take a long time to prepare these freezer meals?
It depends how many you want to make. I mean, I did these 3 in 30 minutes, maybe even less than that, actually. I usually go to the store and buy everything. I plan it out, what I'm going to have, which takes me 10, 15 minutes. I go to the store and I buy it, and then on a separate day, I put everything together. I mean, I think it took me maybe 20 minutes to put it together. It was so simple. It's so easy. And there's a lot of freezer meal tutorials and stuff out there that you can find, but you really won't find many that are real healthy, unfortunately. I mean, you'll find some, but there's not a lot. But
What's your thoughts? I'm sorry.
I just said I have them. I have the recipes.
Okay, cool. What's your thoughts on salt intake?
On salt intake? Well, I think that you can overdo anything, but you remember when they used to say, like, for high cholesterol, if you ate eggs, it was bad for you, like it made it worse. Well, the same thing is true with salt. They're kind of reversing that now. So, you can overdo it with most things, right? So, I just think as long as you're careful with it, I think it's fine. And it depends on what kind of salt too. So, I mean, like I use sea salt. Kosher salt, are you using table salt? Because table salt has tons of chemicals in it, and it's like no good. So it really depends on the quality of the salt.
Tia, if you're on this call, you better make sure we get rid of that table salt.
Oh, and I also wanted to say...
what were you about to say? Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I lost my train of thought. It's okay.
It was probably good. They're gonna throw tomatoes at me now. if it comes back to you, let me know. Is it better to exercise when you wake up or before bed?
Oh, definitely when you wake up. I mean, definitely. And let me tell you why. Let me just say this. When I work out in the morning, I have energy for the day, right? If I wait until later, I'm going to tell you a couple things that happen. And I'm sure this happens with many of you. If I wait until later in the day, I'm tired. So my workout usually is not as good or intense because I'm just exhausted. Now, my husband is a night person and I'm a morning person. So really for him, he works out in the evening and he has his energy then. So, I guess for certain people, it does work out that way. If I work out before bed, I don't sleep. And so I think it just depends. I mean, I say morning, I guess it's because of me, but you really need to see what works best for you. I mean, for him, it works great. He sleeps like a baby. He works out at like 5:30 every night, and he's great. So I guess it just depends on you.
Back to the salt. Have you heard of Himalayan salt?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I have Himalayan salt. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Okay.
Lots of minerals in there.
Do you exercise in a fasted state?
Sometimes, not always. Let's see, this morning I took a bite of my oatmeal that I had made before I went up, and I had a couple sips of coffee. So I don't have a rule. It's just how I feel. So one of the things that I teach in my program is about mindful eating. And so I pay attention to my body cues. So if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat a little something. I don't have rigid times that I eat. I don't make myself eat right before I work out every time. I just don't do that. I pay attention to what my body tells me. So sometimes before I work out, I'm fine. I don't need a bite. So it just kind of depends.
All right, Nicole, I think we're going to land the plane right there. Let me come out of that. All right, guys. I think we're going to close this out. Nicole, this has been great. This has really been good. Remember, if you click on the link, it's the very first thing that is in the chat box. If you click on that link and you fill out Nicole's form, and then you'll get a free 30-minute consultation with Nicole to talk about your health and fitness goals. So make sure you do that. Just click on the link, fill out the form. She'll contact you, and you can talk about your health and fitness goals. All All right, we got other questions coming in, but what I'll do is let me read this last question to you, Nicole, because I know them. If you eat 200 worth of calories and burn 200 on the treadmill, does it even out?
Well, you know what? Calories are not created equal. So, no, I do not believe in that. There's different schools of thought on it. I actually just read something recently about it. No, I do not believe that. I think that a lot of people are fooled by that, and they think that if they had a good workout, they can eat, whatever they burned. It doesn't work that way, in my opinion. And you can do more research yourself because there's a couple different schools of thought. But I definitely agree that no, that doesn't always work. I think sometimes it works. It depends on the quality and the quantity of the food, but or more the quality of the food. But no, I don't necessarily agree with that across the board.
All right, Nicole, they're telling you thank you in the chat box. Do you have any last words? Anything else you want to say?
No, I so appreciate this time. This has been so much fun for me. I hope you got great information. I would love to talk to any of you, whether you sign up for my program or not. I mean, I would love to chat with you. And if you don't want to work with me or can't work with me, maybe I can help, lead you on a path to help you lose some weight and feel better. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. DeAngelo, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you follow me on social media, I'll have Nicole's link somewhere on my pages, so you can you'll have that if you can't get it in the chat box. I appreciate everybody. Let's live a safe, healthy life. And Nicole, I'll see you soon.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Peace. Peace, everybody.